Now, if you noticed on my channel lately, I've been getting in a lot of 16-inch laptops, and I'm actually liking that 16-inch form factor because I think you're getting a lot of screen real estate. I'm liking that 16:10 aspect ratio that we've been seeing. So when Lenovo hit me up to check out their brand new ThinkBook 16p, I quickly jumped on it. What this brings to the table is a 16-inch 2.5K display that is absolutely gorgeous. It has that 16:10 aspect ratio. It also has the Ryzen 7 5800H processor paired with that RTX 3060 GPU. Yes, the specs look great on paper, but is it worth your hard-earned money? We're gonna find out today. Hey everybody, it's Andrew, and this is my review of the Lenovo ThinkBook 16p here for 2021. Coming up. Now, as we take a look at the specs, in the interest of transparency and full disclosure, I'm not being paid by Lenovo. I'm not being sponsored by Lenovo. All the opinions you're about to hear are my own. Lenovo is not getting copy approval. That means they're seeing this video for the first time, just like you. Now, this review unit is on loan from Lenovo, and once this review is done, I'll be sending it back. Now, price as tested is $2,319.00. For those interested, I'll leave a link in the description below for more information and where you can buy one. Now, you can get this with up to a Ryzen 9 5900HX processor. I have the Ryzen 7 5800H, and that seems like the only one available right now. As soon as the Ryzen 9 is available, I will let everybody know. And with the specs and pricing out of the way, let's find out what you get inside the box. Let's open it up. Now, you get a 230-watt power adapter that uses Lenovo's own proprietary connector, and they also give you the extension cord as well. You get some documentation along with warranty information as well. Now, holding the unit for the first time, the first thing that comes to mind, wow, this feels like a very premium design, sturdy build. It looks rock solid, it feels rock solid, and I like that two-tone finish, giving it a really sleek and modern look. And at 4.4 pounds or 2 kilograms, this is definitely portable for a 16-inch laptop, especially for what it packs under the hood. And I love the fact that there's very little flex or give on the chassis. Again, rock solid build. Okay, let's check out the port selection. We're going to start off on the left side where you get your headphone microphone combo jack and a full-size SD card reader. That's always good to see. Now, moving over to the right side, you get two USB-C 3.2 Gen 2 ports that are full service. You could do data, charge, and display out. And you also get a Kensington lock to round out the ports on the right side. Now, moving to the back, you get two USB-A 3.2 Gen 2 ports, and finally, your power port. Now, notably missing, there's no HDMI port, but other than that, I think this is a pretty good port selection. And the other thing to keep in mind, of course, is that since this is running an AMD processor, there's no Thunderbolt 4 port on this. Now, to get inside this laptop, it's actually pretty easy. There are 8 T5 Torx screws. You need to remove them, and once you do that, take a pry tool or a guitar pick or something very similar and work your way around the edges. Be very careful, of course, not to break the plastic clips. And once that is done, remove the bottom panel and you're in. It's that easy. And once inside, you'll notice that there are 2 fans for cooling and there are 2 copper heat sinks. We'll talk about the thermals later on in this video. But as far as the battery, you'll notice that it's a 71 watt-hour battery. We'll get into the battery life and charging times as well, again, later on in this review. Now, as far as the RAM is concerned, my review unit has 16 gigabytes of DDR4 3200 RAM running in dual channel mode. Now, the thing to keep in mind, there's one open slot that you can put your own RAM in, and then there's 8 gigabytes soldered in. Again, total of 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM. And the one thing you'll notice here is that this is the X16 RAM and not the faster X8. Just something to keep in mind. Not a deal breaker, as the performance has been very good, but it would have been a little bit faster if it had the X8 RAM. Now, there are 2 SSD slots that are user accessible. That means you can upgrade them yourself. There's one here, and then, of course, there's one over here. Now, my review unit comes with 512 gigabytes of PCIe and NVMe SSD storage, and as you can see from these reads and writes, the results were very good. And this has Wi-Fi 6 along with Bluetooth 5.2. And I got to say, both working very well. And the good news is it's not soldered into the motherboard. It's slotted in. That means if you have to upgrade it or change it out down the road, you have that option. Now, as far as the sound is concerned, there are two bottom-facing speakers, and they're audio by Harman. And I got to say, it gets pretty loud, filling up a room rather nicely. The mids are decent, and there was even a hint of bass. I would say it was a pretty good audio experience. Not too bad. Okay, let's talk about the display, and I'm really liking it. And what we have here is a 16-inch IPS non-touch display with a 2.5K resolution. That's 2560 by 1600. And yes, that is a 16:10 aspect ratio, which I'm a big fan of because you'll do less scrolling when it comes to web browsing. It's more optimized for productivity. Now, you'll notice some black bars on the top and the bottom when consuming media. That is really made for 16:9, but not a deal breaker, but just something to keep in mind. This has some really deep blacks, very good white points, excellent contrast, and it does have a very color accurate display with an excellent Delta E score of 0.79. It also covers the color gamut really well, 100% sRGB, 75% Adobe RGB, 77% of the DCI P3 wide color gamut, and 70% NTSC, making this a very good choice for content creators who do Lightroom, Photoshop, color grading, and of course, video editing. Now, this display has a 60 Hz refresh rate, and Lenovo claims will get as bright as 400 nits. I actually measured even more. I got 415 nits, and that is pretty good. So this is going to be a very good choice for both indoor and outdoor use, especially since it's a matte display. It's not glossy. You don't get any unnecessary glare or reflections, and that's always very good. And it's also a Dolby Vision display. That means if you're watching high dynamic range content, it is highly optimized for that kind of viewing experience, and that's always good. And it has some pretty slim bezels, giving it a sleek and modern look. I gotta say, they did a very good job when it comes to this display. So this is the front-facing camera on the brand new ThinkBook 16p here for 2021. Very impressive so far, all metal design. It's a really nice laptop, a Ryzen 7 5800H, RTX 3060. We're going to get into that in this review. But I want to know what you think about this webcam. It's a 720p, 30 frames per second webcam that, I don't know, does it look good? You tell me. Let me know in the comment section below. How's the video quality? How's the audio quality of the internal mics? I am curious to know. Now, one thing to note, this also has a shutter switch. It's also a Windows Hello camera, so that's good. That means you can log in with face recognition. Now, there's also a fingerprint scanner. That's the power button, which doubles as the fingerprint scanner. So we got a lot of options as far as logging in on this laptop. Again, I'm curious to know what you think. Let me know in that comment section below. The ThinkBook 16p has a 71 watt-hour battery, and it did 8 hours and 42 minutes on my continuous web surfing test over Wi-Fi at 150 nits. So what does that mean in real-world mixed usage? You're looking at anywhere from 7 to 8 hours, depending on what you're doing. So your mileage may vary. Now, they do include a 230 watt power adapter in the box, and this does support Rapid Charge Pro, giving you 50% in 30 minutes, a full charge in about 80 minutes, and that's pretty fast. Okay, let's talk about the performance. And as you can see from these benchmarks, that AMD Ryzen 7 5800H processor paired with that 16 gigabytes of DDR4 RAM and that RTX 3060 GPU. It's the RTX 3060 Max Q, and it's capped at 75 watts. It also has 6 gigabytes of GDDR6 RAM. This is going to be good for everyday tasks, Microsoft Office, email, web browsing. It all worked well. Now, when it comes to gaming, of course, this is not a gaming laptop, but it is very capable in playing games. And as you can see from these frame rates, you could definitely get playable frame rates on some of the more popular titles. So that is good to see here. And when I ran the Prime 95 stress test, the CPU would turbo boost up to 4.396 gigahertz for about 10 seconds and reach a core temperature of 87 degrees Celsius. And then it would slightly drop to 3.169 gigahertz to 3.942 gigahertz to maintain a cooler 75 degrees Celsius. So you don't see too much thermal throttling. You're seeing it maintain good clock speeds. So they did a good job in terms of the thermals. Now, as far as the surface temperatures are concerned, never getting overly hot. And as far as those fan noise is concerned, never getting overly loud. So I think they did a good job overall with this cooling implementation. And for those wondering, yes, you can open the lid with one finger. And now speaking of that lid, this has the flip to wake feature, meaning once you open the lid, it turns on the laptop. Now that was my first time opening it up, so I need to set it up before that feature would kick in. And as we take a look at the keyboard, you'll notice those familiar smile-shaped keys we've seen before from Lenovo. I would say it's a good keyboard overall, good tactile feedback, a little bit shallow in terms of the key travel, but good nonetheless in terms of comfortable typing for extended periods of time. I never felt like my fingers would bottom out any time when I was typing with this. Now, it does have a numeric keypad, so if you're a number cruncher out there who does Excel spreadsheets and the like, you'll appreciate the inclusion of the numpad. But as a consequence of having that numpad, you'll notice that touchpad is off to the center towards the left a bit, something to get used to, but we've seen that before in other 16-inch laptops. And it has a multi-stage backlight that allows you to get work done in a dark room or a dimly lit environment. And that's always good. And you'll notice the backlight is a very bright white against these dark keys, making it easy to differentiate and to see the contrast between the two. And the Precision touchpad is glass and it is very responsive. Two-finger scrolling is buttery smooth and all the gestures work as you'd expect. They did a good job in this implementation. And I love the fact that the screen goes all the way back as you see here, giving you the perfect viewing angle each and every time. And the hinges are pretty stiff. I didn't notice a lot of screen wobble, if any. So that's been pretty good. Okay, let's bring it all home. What do I think about the Lenovo ThinkBook 16p Gen 2 here for 2021? I love its gorgeous 16-inch 2.5K 16:10 display. It's bright, it's sharp, it's everything you'd want. It's also a matte display. You don't get any glare or reflections. You gotta love it. Good performance out of that Ryzen 7 5800H. Pair that with the RTX 3060 Max-Q, and you get some very good performance and some even better thermals as you don't see too much thermal throttling. A very good thermal solution employed here. I'm liking what I see. Very responsive touchpad, comfortable keyboard that has a really nice backlight. The dual SSD support, the upgradable RAM, and the upgradable Wi-Fi are all winners in my book, and I didn't notice any PWM or screen flickering below 50%, and that's good, especially for those sensitive to PWM or screen flickering. The negatives here, no HDMI port, but you do get those full-service USB-C ports, a 720p webcam, not that great, of course, here in 2021. It also has the X16 RAM and not the faster X8, and it can get pretty expensive with a price of about $2,300 US, and especially when you compare it to some of its competition, it is a little bit more expensive, but you are getting premium build, rock solid construction here, and it's definitely worth it in my opinion. I'm really liking this laptop, people. I'm going to give this a score of 92%, making the Lenovo ThinkBook 16p Gen 2 here for 2021 definitely worth your money. So what do you think about this bad boy, the 16p ThinkBook line? Beautiful two-tone finish. I'm really liking it. Solid build, rock solid construction on this. I'm absolutely loving that. Good performance out of that Ryzen 7 5800H. Now this will be available also with the Ryzen 9 5900HX. That will be coming soon, not yet available on the site. As soon as it is available, I will let everybody know. Good battery life out of this. You're looking at anywhere from 7 to 8 hours, depending on what you're doing with this. You can definitely game on this, as evidenced by the numbers we showed you in the video. The benchmarks were very good. The display brightness was very good. They say at 400 nits on this 16-inch display. I got 415 nits, which is even better. So it's a non-glossy matte display, so that means you don't get any unnecessary glare or reflection. So it really checks all the boxes. Very few negatives on this laptop. Now pricing is about $2,300 or so as tested. Again, link in the description below if you're interested in finding out more information and where you can buy it. Now, as far as that price is concerned, remember, this is geared towards a small to medium business. So that ThinkBook line really lies somewhere between the ThinkPad line and of course the Lenovo IdeaPad and Yoga line. So a little bit of a blurred line there, but definitely worth it because you're really getting rock solid build quality with its all metal design. Again, the performance was very good. Battery life was decent, and you definitely get that gorgeous QHD Plus display. It really is stunning. But I'm curious to know what you think. Let me know in that comment section below. So please hit the like button, please subscribe, please share this video. Don't forget to leave a comment in that comment section below. Let me know how I'm doing. Let me know if there's a device or something out there you think I should review. I'll do my best to try to make that happen. Don't forget to check me out on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and of course, my website, amdtechreviews.com. So until next time, this is Andrew from AMD Tech. See ya.